Hello, everyone, and welcome to our wonderful book launch with author Sarah Peyton. It's her third book. I'm going to show a picture of it. You can see it up there as well, but here's an image of it. It's her third book just released called Affirmations for Turbulent Times, Resonant Words to Soothe the Body and Mind. And I'm Sharon Saylor from SharonSaylor.com. And I'm so honored to be here when Sarah asked me to share this big day with her. Oh my gosh, I think all of us are really excited for her. So we'll just give her a quick round of applause here. And I met Sarah over a decade ago at a workshop that we were both attending. And that workshop changed my life. And one of those big changes was meeting Sarah. So she has graciously appeared on my popular podcast interview series called the Autoimmune Hour, which is the #1 wellness show on Times Radio. And we get emails all the time from people saying, when is Sarah coming back? I'm such a huge fan of her and her work. And as I know many of you are today, so I don't want to waste any more time. Now, with love, I'm thrilled to introduce Sarah Peyton. And her quick little bio is, just read it here because it's so awesome. Sarah is a neuroscience educator, a certified trainer of nonviolent communication, and a constellation facilitator. And she is the author of the Resonant series, which includes Your Resonant Self, Your Resonant Self Workbook, and now, here again, her third book, Affirmations for Turbulent Times. She lives in Vancouver, Washington, and you can buy her books and find all about her if you don't know already, but you can find all about her ongoing trainings and workshops over at sarahpeyton.com. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Sharon.
Congratulations.
You. And it's so sweet to see the folks who are here on the call, so many people that have been a part of this community. Thank you for being here and thank you for celebrating with me. And I told Sharon before we started, I was really nervous and felt really vulnerable. And then I thought, Sharon will be there. I'll be fine. I didn't know that the rest of you would be here too. So I'm especially fine.
You're especially fine. What an awesome group. I'm going through the views, looking at all of the awesome people, Sarah. This is so exciting. When we do our interviews, it's a small group. So now we are surrounded by our lovely community. Yeah. But before we get started, I'm also excited to share that at the end of our time together, we'll be giving away a signed copy of Sarah's new book, Affirmations for Turbulent Times, to one of our lucky attendees in a random selection process. And we'll be giving away a full scholarship to her upcoming Affirmations Lab, which starts on January 5th. You'll learn how to do these awesome affirmations yourself. And that will be facilitated by our lovely moderator, Jeannie Rowden. She's here and behind the scenes and running all the technical stuff for us. So we'll just give a quick shout out to Jeannie. Thank you, Jeannie, for doing that for us. And so let's stay tuned and let's jump right in. I don't want to waste a second of our time together. Sarah, this is your third book in this series and that you've published, all focusing on resonance. And I have to say that really slowly because sometimes people think I say resident. Resonance. So tell us, how did you get interested in this topic? And actually, what is resonance?
Well, I think, it really happened with Bonnie Badenoch. And for those of you who know Bonnie Badenoch, my wonderful mentor and teacher, she started talking about relationships and how relationships change the brain. And I was taking some of her classes at that time at PSU. And I was kind of stunned by the idea that we attune to each other, that we're changed by each other. It seemed like the remedy for all of the ways that magic had been sucked out of my life since the time I was a little girl. I was like, we change each other. And so I became absolutely, I dove into the whole topic. And just yesterday, I received a letter from a woman who's an fMRI PhD. And she said that she loved my books and that they'd taken her farther into self-warmth. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh, wow. Oh, that sent chills up my spine, Sarah. Ooh. Well, I wanted to shift gears a little bit because what is the focus of the new book? I love it. As you can see, I have a copy of it. And as I'm reading through it, I see the connection and how it is a series, but it's very, very different from the first two books. So,
It is.
what made you want to do it?
Well, actually, Norton wrote to me and they said, we need an affirmations book that's neuroscience based that will reach everyone because the times are so difficult. And we desperately need people to be able to have resources. And I said, affirmations, huh? And I had two reactions. One is that my life was changed by Melody Beattie's book of affirmations in the 1980s. That was literally the most important book maybe of my entire life. And so I was so honored to be selected. And I thought, maybe I can do something that brings resonance into this world that's shown by neuroscience research to be very supportive for our well-being. So my other reaction was, affirmations, somehow often I don't feel like affirmations are authentic. And I thought, what do I need to do in order to be able to let the power of affirmations work for me? And I was like, what if for each affirmation, I do a truth acknowledgement, a wondering that lets my body relax in relationship with the affirmations? And then it felt really fun and like a discovery process.
Oh, absolutely. The format of the book is different. And, it intrigued me. It reminded me sort of a journal, actually, this idea of the wonderings on the one page and then the affirmation on the other side of the page. It's really awesome. So let's talk a little bit about why you set it up that way, because it's a fascinating format.
Yeah, yeah. Well, our amygdalas, I think, my experience with amygdalas is that our amygdalas love the truth. Our amygdalas are like testing everything for authenticity. Well, let's see. The anterior cingulate cortex is testing everything for authenticity, actually, but it's very close to the amygdala and it's communicating with the amygdala. And when it finds incongruence and inauthenticity, then the amygdala gets alarmed. So I was like, how can we make this information congruent? How can we let the anterior cingulate have its need for congruence and truth and get the amygdala some nice, yummy, direct, like IV nourishment to the amygdala?
And I felt it as I was reading through the wonderings and then the accompanying affirmations. Can you tell us a little bit more about your own brain change journey?
Ooh, what a wonderful question. I started out and still have my moments. I started out with a brain that was a little sort of murderous of me. Like when I was 18 to 25, about, I mean, I wouldn't exactly contemplate suicide, but I would imagine driving my car off cliffs and just soaring into some kind of peace and oblivion, because the inside of my brain was like, I don't know how many people have seen the movie Edward Scissorhands, where the boy has like many, many knives instead of hands and fingers. And I was like, that's me inside my own brain. Anything I think of, I will destroy. Any any positive thought, I will cut apart into pieces. Any action that I do, I will examine for all of its faults. It was like the way that I had learned to try to take care of myself, to anticipate any danger from the outside. So I sort of made my own brain dangerous for me on the inside. And then I was like, okay, people are saying meditation is a really good thing. And so I was like, I will try meditation. Meditation, if you are Edward Scissorhands inside your own brain, meditation is not fun. And so And so I was like, every few years, I'd like, I'm going to try meditation. And I'd be like, oh my God, I've just killed myself in those 30 seconds where I tried to stop, like distracting myself from the inner world of my brain. Then really, when I found Bonnie Badenoch, and she did this wonderful, wonderful meditation that is what the warm breath meditation is based on, the very first meditation that's available for free on the sarahpeyton.com website. And yourresonantself.com website. I found this meditation where she said, first of all, she said, if you've had trouble meditating, it's because of trauma. And I was like, oh, I'm Edward Scissorhands because of trauma. I wasn't born Edward Scissorhands. I experienced things that were really difficult, and my brain learned to attack itself in order to try to survive. And then she did this meditation. And I was like, oh, just for a moment, she said, just for a moment, be warm with yourself. And I was like, wow, just for a moment. And for several years, I could just do it for an instant, like less than a second. And then as I did it more and more, then the neurons, what happens is the neurons grow where they need to grow when we have resonant accompaniment. And my brain was changed, and it's a much better place to live.
And we're all so blessed that happened. Oh my goodness. We've been friends a long time. I did not know that story. Thank you for sharing that with us. You know, and I can see that the format of the book, you have all of these multiple topics, which I just love. I can see now partly where that came from, all of these topics of wanting choice, of boredom and meaning, the cost of addiction, being unable to sleep, just all these wonderful things, fear, anger, grief, disgust, contempt. Fabulous. I love how it's set up in themes too. Your work always gets me thinking, and I'm curious, what do you hope that others take away? I think there's probably over 100 in here. What do you hope that others take away from your learning and now this awesome book?
What I really hope is that people who enjoy affirmations will just plain enjoy it. And that people who have never really liked affirmations will give it a shot to see if the wonderings move them toward some sense of like, yumminess, like to make the brains that have not had yumminess get to have yumminess. That is my whole mission in life.
I love the word yummy. Good word. Good word. And I know you've worked with people around the world, helping them overcome past traumas and resolve issues. And what are you seeing right now as some of the biggest traumas that and biggest issues that are facing people right now?
What a great question. There's loneliness, and loneliness that happens not just with solitude, but also if we're sort of put in situations where the only people we have contact with are people who are not particularly relational. We can be very lonely, even if we have 8 people in our house. If nobody has a warm curiosity for us, then of course we'll be lonely. So loneliness, and also a terrible, huge anxiety about the global climate crisis that just fells people, sort of takes them out at their knees and drops them to the floor. And we need lots of love and support to be able to negotiate these times that we're living in.
Yeah, I noticed that in that section of wonderings, and I want to make sure, because the word was very unfamiliar to me, of wonderings on the one side, and then the affirmation that goes along with it on the other side. And I know throughout all of your work, and I noticed it here in Affirmations for Turbulent Times, you talk about growing new neural connections. And in your story about the scissor hands, what a visual. You talked about how your brain healed itself as well. What is some ways that we can make a resilient brain when we're dealing with these stressful situations, such as loneliness that you mentioned?
Yeah, I think there are particular affirmations kind of dedicated to this, to begin to say to ourselves, like, I mean, I love this sentence. If nobody has warm curiosity for us, of course we're lonely.
I've never thought of it that way, Sarah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So a part of it is like, well, heck yes. I'm living in a world where nobody turns to me and goes, oh, Sarah, tell me what you've been thinking about. And then when I say it, they go, oh, and how does this fit with other stuff? Well, I do get it in my world. And one of the things
Yes.
I love about our conversations is that I don't feel lonely in them. And that's a wonderful thing, because we get to kind of find these moments with people where they have a capacity for sustained connection. And as we one of the things I love is that as we begin to notice, oh, I'm living in a world where nobody asks me a second question. Some people ask me a first question. Nobody asks me a second question. I wonder what it would be like to have some friends who had a warm curiosity for me and a capacity to engage. And then we start looking for those people. And it's almost like we didn't even know we could dream of that.
Hmm. I always love your insights on those things. It's like you're reading my mind. I don't know how else to say it. Oh my goodness. That is so wonderful. And can we explore that a little deeper, this idea of connection and creating resonance with others along with ourselves?
Yeah. Well, the thing that we need to be able to begin to be resonant with ourselves is some sort of modeling of the idea of self-resonance, because it's kind of a rare bird in our world. We don't usually hear people walking around making a mistake and then saying to themselves, oh, Sarah, of course you feel a little embarrassed and awkward in this moment. Do you love having full understanding and complete sort of transparent insight and grace? Do you love grace? We don't hear people saying that to themselves.
I don't think so.
Usually we hear, God damn it. Which is also resonant language, by the way. Swearing is resonant language and lights up the right hemisphere. So if we have somebody with us who says, yeah, God damn it, that's a resonant response to our experience. So it's not that swearing is bad, but how do we turn our attention and our love to ourselves? Such a riddle. And so I hope that the books begin to model it and give people a way to begin. Now, if you like the science, the first two books are amazing for that. And if you don't like the science very much, the Affirmations book is just pure resonance.
It is. It is. And now all the times we've interviewed together, as well as I'm hearing it again right now, you talk about this idea of intense vulnerability. And I think that's a little bit what I was hearing when you were talking about sort of the swearing and how we're talking to ourselves and how how it's a better way to talk to ourselves. So let's share a little bit more about what we can do and what the process is to understanding this intense vulnerability.
Well, whenever we step into beginning to move toward a resonant relationship with ourselves, we're actually beginning to peek through a doorway where we have enough internal safety that we can begin to disclose our sadness or our shame or our worries or our pain. And we're not, as we grow the resonant fibers within our own brains, which we desperately need, we're not so vulnerable to how people respond. Because some of you may have done this with me in classes where we smile a little bit and then the other person smiles less. And then we smile a little bit and the other person smiles more. And we can feel it almost cellularly in our bodies that we are much more dependent on one another for a resonant response, for a way that we mirror and encourage and let each other know that our life energy is welcome. But because we are so vulnerable to the response that we get in the world, and because so few people in the world have studied, resonance or begun to model it for each other, oftentimes we'll go forward with our vulnerability, with our statement of our sadness or our worry. And what we'll meet is unsolicited advice. Oh, Sarah, you should just get over that. Don't worry about that. You're a lovely person. Why are you worrying about that? Of course, this is fine. Reassurance. Very sweet, very warm, but not on the line of connection for the growing of the neurons between the right prefrontal cortex and the right amygdala. So then we're like alarmed. We have to protect ourselves. We have to tighten our bodies in response. And this is a little about the intense vulnerability of being human. But the more we have had experience of resonance, then when somebody says, oh, you don't need to worry about that, Sarah, we think, oh, this person has never experienced resonance. And if I were talking to Sharon would say, oh, yeah, of course. Of course there's vulnerability. And I can remember and I can carry Sharon in my own head. As I move through the world, that helps that intense vulnerability.
Now, on our interview that we did for the Autoimmune Hour last week, we actually walked through the process. I think it feels like we should walk through the process here.
Sure,
what do you think?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Are you willing to let us create a little affirmation and wondering for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
Okay.
But I just want to say like a little side note. I'm always amazed what comes up. So everybody, let's fasten our seatbelts here. Okay, let's go.
Okay. What affirmation would you love to claim for yourself today that feels a little out of reach, but you'd love to have it?
Calmness around the holidays. I mean, it's just, calmness around, I'll say this particular holiday season.
Yeah. Okay. So then the first thing we want to do, we know what our subject is, our general subject is. So now we want to kind of name some truths. Do you need any acknowledgement that there are particular historical markers that we're coming up on that have been all about chaos?
Absolutely. Yeah. And even more right now with family, or friends and just lots of decisions, it seems, more this year than normal.
Yeah. Do you need any acknowledgement that we are, with our immune systems, vulnerable as we move into more social and connection and trying to figure out how to have the connection and the warmth and at the same time be really safe with whatever it is that we need for our own immune systems?
Oh, wow. You read minds, don't you? Yes. Because I do have an autoimmune condition, I do feel more vulnerable. And especially nowadays, like I end up wearing my mask in a lot of places other people don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, that also makes you feel vulnerable. Just sort of that visual sign.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when it's not a shared commitment and we're with others who, all of a sudden we're different. And and our bodies notice that, and there's a disturbance, almost a cellular disturbance when we're different. I just went to Colorado. I won't tell the story. Okay. So let's stay focused on you. And so just notice now, we'll start to craft your affirmation. You get to change it any way you want. I am calm and completely self-connected as I enter the holiday season. And I am successfully surfing all of the holiday waves and enjoying myself every minute. Or almost every minute.
You know what's so funny? I know you don't know this about me, but I love the beach.
Oh,
I don't think we've ever talked about the beach in all of our time. I just find this fascinating how you clued in on these words of waves. And that just calmed me down.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing how
Wow.
this, as you do the work and as others do the work, I found this in your first two books, how it's that connection that you can, that just even the right words come up. Well, yes, surfing the waves, that was just, I just felt this peace and this grounding that happened. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it amazes me. I'll listen to the recording as well to get all of the exact words, but that calmness and connection was what I was seeking. But part of it was like, not quite yet.
Mm.
And oftentimes for me, previous affirmations I was familiar with were very short, like
Mm.
just that, calmness and connection sentence, just very
Mm.
short. But adding that additional layer of surfing the waves and took me right to one of my favorites meditation spots, right to the beach.
Mm. Marvelous.
Wow. So how do we ground that and everything? This idea of being completely calm and self-connected, especially as I like it for entering the holiday season, but you know what? I'm going to be keeping it for always, at least,
Yeah.
at least until the time being, until I feel at a different place where it can change. Let's talk about how affirmations can grow and self-flourish on themselves.
Well, once we start with this kind of relationship between, if for us this is a calming relationship between acknowledging what's true and then claiming that kind of the power of our most essential self, then it actually builds on itself as we begin to move into the relationship between, yeah, sure, there's a truth, and here's the truth of my being, and here's the truth of my experience, and here's the truth of my being. Then we gradually are also growing these neural connections that are so supportive for our immune system and our calm and our self-regulation and our connections with others.
Mm. I love that idea that they're uh, self-flourishing, self-growing, self-connecting. And one thing that I found as I was reading the book on this topic of self-connecting is I began to see the patterns of them and begin to be able to create some myself.
Oh, good.
And I know that you have the Affirmations Lab coming up. Let's talk a little bit about what people will find in the Affirmations Lab as they begin to connect those on themselves.
Well, what we'll do is we'll talk about the neuroscience, and they're kind of short little classes that happen in the morning specific time, so they can be kind of a little bit of a sustaining dose of connection and resonance and support and learning. And it's like, as we step into this, how do we, and indeed, as you said, how do we do this for ourselves? How do we, how do, what's the technology of acknowledging truth? Because so often we have contracts against acknowledging the truth. And those contracts kind of keep us pinned in an anxiety state. So if I have like an affirmation to feel the world's abundance, and I have a contract against naming how worried I get about money, then there's like this kind of strange swirling tumult that happens in my body when I try to move even toward the wondering, because it's not okay to tell the truth about my anxiety. So if I have a contract, and for those of you who are not familiar with the contracts, that's book 2, Your Resonant Self Workbook. But if I go, okay, what's my contract? I, Sarah, solemnly swear to my essential self that I will not reveal, that I will not speak about, that I will not think about money worries in order to be solid like my dad and walk right beside him in the world, no matter the cost to myself. And then I go, okay, beautiful vow for a little girl who loved her daddy. Is it so good now? Does it help now? Not so much. I release you from this vow. I revoke this contract. It's okay to say that money's sometimes scary, that there's so much connected with it. And when I said that, when I said money's sometimes scary, then there was an alarm in my body, and I realized there's another layer of the vow. So, and it's about scaring other people, wanting everybody to feel calm. And so I would release that layer, and there might be other layers, and then I would get to the place where I would be able to say, oh yeah, of course. I still have some of the contracts, so of course I'm worried about money. And then the affirmation, I am the master of my finances. They are my decisions, mine to make, and I make good decisions, and I harvest and steward my resources in beautiful ways. So
I love that one too. Oh my goodness, right at the end of the year, how timely as well. And I want to say we're just about down to our last 20 minutes when we gather as a community. Time just, oh my goodness. So I do want to say that to our community here, to be part of the drawing for the book and an opportunity for the one full scholarship to the Affirmations Lab, where you will learn about the contracts and learn about how to create your own affirmations, as you just saw Sarah do through that process, and how she created a lovely one for me too. Excuse me here. Jeannie, our amazing behind the scenes moderator, will randomly choose someone. So if you're interested, just put your name in the chat box, your full name, full spelling, and your first and last name in the chat box. And you could, you know how sometimes it says to everyone, just address it to Jeannie if you would. But if you've already addressed it to everyone, in which I see that chat box is flowing, that's fine. Jeannie will randomly pick someone. And oh my goodness, Sarah, this is just so exciting as everybody is in this process. And we'll share the name shortly and be able to have our own wondering about their own personal challenges and things. So that's so exciting. And I'm going to settle in here and just take a quick drink of water, Sarah. That I've got chills from both of our affirmations there. My goodness, I just see the box continuing to flow. That's fantastic. And we'll just settle ourselves back in for this affirmation and feel the changes within. And oh my goodness. So, you know, one of the things in our 20 minutes together, I know we'll have that time at the end for the announcements, but one of the things that I noticed is some people are asking for another demonstration. Sarah, shall we give them another demonstration, whether we do it with...
let's do it for everybody.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Let's but let's give it just a moment for the flow of names to subside. It looks like it might have stopped now. Okay, so everybody who wants to, let's have you do what Sharon did. Of just starting, like, what's the area of the affirmation that you'd like to explore today? And just let's put some of the areas that we'd love to claim a really good affirmation for ourselves in, something that we struggle with, that we really want to integrate and claim for ourselves. And Ayana puts in health and
staying focused,
organization, loving and connected to myself and self-warmth.
to feel valued. Oh my goodness, connection with my resonating self-witness.
Yeah.
Express warmth and have friends, financial wealth and freedom. Wow.
Oh, I love these.
These are all absolutely wonderful.
Oh.
Free from worries, to value myself, self-worth, to be heard and seen. Oh my goodness, the chat box is going so fast, I can't keep up, Sarah. Ending procrastination. I can hear you on that one too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So all of these are just resonating with us,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think speaks to the what else kind of say the connection or the human condition, that all of these are
Yeah.
speaking to me, just as the 100 or plus in the book spoke to me,
Yeah.
and just going through each one of those.
So then the next piece, for those of you who are kind of putting your hat in the participation ring here, is to see if it's okay to tell the truth about ways that this has not happened in your life because of trauma, because of chaos, because of pandemic, um, because of other worries. Just kind of like, ask this question: is it okay to tell the truth? Is it okay to say, well, this is an area that's been hard? And if it's okay to tell the truth, if it's not okay, make a note for yourself that you have an unconscious contract and grab the workbook and do whatever you would like to do with that. But if you can tell the truth, what is the truth that you'd like to tell about a way that you're working towards claiming for yourself has been interrupted or hard? So, like, or that people have told you that you're bad at it. So, what if your affirmation is, I am a beautiful singer? And people have told you that I have a terrible voice, and people have even asked you not to sing around them. This has happened to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Me too.
So then we get to say, and people have actually told me that I'm not a good singer. I'd like to acknowledge the truth that I have been told that I'm not a good singer. Or to acknowledge, like, for example, with those places where we're immobilized, maybe we've been immobilized for very good reasons. So we get to say, I'd like to acknowledge the truth that immobilization has saved my life. Yeah. Or to say, you know, if I stepped fully into self-acceptance, I would not have belonged in my family. Or to be able to say that I may not get these right, folks, because I'm guessing off a few words. So pardon me if oh, Steve, worse, they just cringe and groan with the singing. Yes, of course, then we need to acknowledge that. Yeah. So daring deep love again, do we need any acknowledgement that our heart has been broken? Ending procrastination, do we need any acknowledgement that completing things took us away from the people we loved? Do we need wasting time? Do we need any acknowledgement that that has been other people's definition of our rest and creativity time? To be heard and seen, do we need any acknowledgement that, especially in our childhood, either we were not heard and seen at all, or that being heard and seen was dangerous? Self-worth, again, kind of always we want to think about family loyalties with these habits that we have. Was there some way that not stepping into full self-confidence and self-worth benefited and supported our family system? And
Wow.
yeah. And financial wealth and freedom. Would we like a little acknowledgement that our family didn't get to have financial wealth and freedom, or that we ourselves lived through periods of intense, living on ramen and taking, stout cardboard boxes from alleys in order to have bookshelves? Do we need some acknowledgement of what we've lived with? Yeah. And so let's get some of the truths that people, I wonder if, let me just check and see, is this making sense as an invitation to acknowledge the truth about what we're claiming for ourselves? Kind of give me a nod or say, oh gosh, it's not making sense at all. Okay, good, good.
Yes, I'm seeing some thumbs ups and some
Oh,
nods here,
good.
Sarah. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and so we get to acknowledge. So anything, let's just take a little time for, oh, this is a beautiful one. I need acknowledgement that the way my brain works is good and beautiful, even though it wasn't structured the way most people in my family seem to be. That just brings tears to my eyes. And that Dana says, the guest has touched a very deep part of me. My mobilization and lack of self-acceptance did keep me safe growing up. And Nate, if I had sought self-resonance or resonant warmth, my family would have treated me worse. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful acknowledgements. Oh, if I don't have health, it makes them feel better about themselves to take care of me. Very important. And Jane says, is this process explained in the book? The process is not so much explained in the book. It's just modeled mostly. There's a little bit about it. But I wrote like twice as many affirmations as got into the book. And they were like, no, this is a gift book, Sarah. You have to take out 50% of these affirmations so that it can be a gift book. So the book is really totally focused on the wonderings and the affirmations. So it's beautifully modeled, but it's not very much explained.
Let me show an inside picture of how it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could see it. Can we see on the one
Yeah, we
side
can see
there's
it. Yeah.
wonderings and there's
for fear. Yeah.
yeah. So you guys can see how the book is. And I tell you, I learned so much by reading and then sort of inserting my own understandings in there. So yes, it's not so much step one, step two, but just reading through them and sitting with them and just in the loveliness of them. I learned so much about how to model it myself. And we're down to just about 12 minutes. I want to make sure that we have time here, Sarah, to complete this process and then share with our audience.
Okay, so then just we'll go back in just for a minute and just see now, claim that affirmation for yourself. Now that you got to name the truth of the ways in which it was complicated, and just kind of claim, see what happens when you claim it now, and go ahead and write those affirmations into the chat if you're willing. And the ones, something that feels like it's claimable. Yeah. And I think we can go on, Sharon, and
okay,
we'll just let people.
And we'll just keep an eye on that. Yes, and well, let's just talk about the word claimable a little bit. This is the first time we brought that word up in our discussion today. Let's just define it a little bit clearer so people understand. Oh, what am I claiming? And I know for me, I was claiming the courage and the self-confidence and the ability to move forward. So let's talk about that idea of claiming.
Yeah. We all have there's so many ways that my brain wants to go. Many of you may have heard me talk about Stephen Porges and polyvagal theory and the idea that the nervous system has 3 states. One state is immobilization and collapse. One is the alarm or excitement state, but in the alarm we can be in fear, in anger, in alarmed aloneness, which is the fight, flight, alarmed aloneness state. And then we have a third state, which is social engagement. And when we're in social engagement, it means that our nervous system has a neuroception of safety and belonging. And so when we have a nervous system perception that we're safe and that we belong, that our voice matters. So in honor of voices mattering, there are so many beautiful expressions here. I am free of taking care of other people's well-being. I am, and I am surviving and thriving. I have self-worth and self-confidence and feel safe in the river of life. I bring self-warmth when others are not acting curious or caring about me. I am seen and heard, and it is safe to exist. I am strong and healthy in my own way. Oh, these are just so. And for the brain one, my brain operates in a good and beautiful way, and I find my path to organizing my work in a way that is best for me. And the self-resonance one, I affirm I am worthy of self-resonance. So here we are, these beautiful words. I didn't read all of them, but you could start to hear it, that there's more individuality and essence coming through in the claiming that people are doing of their essential being. And the essential being is actually the one that appears when we're in this nervous system state of safety and engagement, where we have a sense that our voice matters and that we belong. So what we're doing is learning more about stepping into this place.
And what I'm finding is that we're learning into, as we're going through the process here with the entire community, and as you were reading through just a small amount there, if you can find them all in the chat, if you'd like to read them, they're all just moving to me. And so many of them called to me and resonated with myself as well. Thank you, everyone, for sharing those. Wow.
Yeah.
So impressive. So impressive. So as we're coming somewhat to a close, I wanted to say thank you to you, Sarah, and any final thoughts. And then after that, we will announce our lucky people for the book, signed copy of the book, as well as the Affirmations Lab.
Well, thank you to you, which I'll probably say again at the end, but I love the way that I feel that my voice matters and belongs. And I hope you feel that your voice matters and belongs with me. And I also just am so grateful to see the warm faces, because your warm faces and your responses in the chat let my nervous system have a sense of being safe and mattering. And so I'm just very, very grateful for our community and for shared healing.
Shared healing, absolutely. Well, let's take the time now to share another that we promised at the beginning, and we'll be announcing the winner of the drawing for the free signed copy of your book, your brand new book. I'm going to show it again because, guys, it's an awesome cover too. Look, it's metallic. I love it. What an awesome gift, shiny gold for the holiday season. Affirmations for Turbulent Times. Jeannie, will you jump on and join us here?
Yes, hello. Hello, everyone. It's great to see you all. And I have to say, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I have. And, I think the wonderful thing about this Zoom is just the sharing and the vulnerability and the authenticity of the shares. It's just been wonderful. So I do want to announce the winners. We have two winners. One is the winner of the book, and one is the winner of the scholarship to the Affirmations Lab. So let me start with the book. The winner of our drawing for the free signed copy of Sarah's book, Affirmations for Turbulent Times, is Susanna Sanfilippo. Susanna Sanfilippo. So congratulations to Susanna. If you could please put your email in the chat so we can get back in touch with you and give you the details and get your address so we can make sure you get that copy of the free signed copy of Affirmations. Thank you and congratulations, Susanna. And now for the winner of the Affirmations Lab. This person will get a full scholarship to attend the Affirmations Lab classes, and that person is Mark Idita. Mark Idita, that's spelled I-D-E-T-A. Congratulations, Mark. I really hope you enjoy that class. And again, Mark, if you could please put your email into the chat for me, and I will be in touch with you and make sure that I get your address or send you the email with all the information to sign up for that program. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you so much, Jeannie.
Yes, thank you, Jeannie. And that class begins on January 5th, as you can see from the wonderful graphic we have up on the screen. Oh my goodness. This has been awesome. I'm just going to take another quick drink of water. I just find these activate my little gray cells and my I just sometimes, I'm feeling all the community here, Sarah. I'm just feeling all the excitement. It's wonderful. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. We have about 7, 8 minutes here. And some of the things that I'm seeing through this, and I'm so excited for the people that were there. I'm looking through the chat and seeing some questions about understanding a little bit deeper on some of this. Let's talk about this idea of, I wanted to go into just a little bit deeper of what is a wondering versus an affirmation. I saw a couple of people go, how do I know a wondering from an affirmation? And I'll let you describe it because I kind of have my idea here, but in the couple of minutes we have, let's just answer that one question that came up.
Thank you, Sharon. The wonderings are those acknowledgements of truth. Like, what do we need to name that allows us to feel a complete congruence with then what we're going to step into, the affirmation. I'm smiling because I started out calling the wonderings resonance, but my editor had me change it to wonderings. So if you're wondering why the word resonance does not appear in the book in that particular way, now you know. They've got a particular, they've got particular ways of thinking about things. And I'm so grateful to be published at all. I just bow to them. Like, okay, whatever you need. So the wonderings are really the resonance. They're really the like, oh, what's true for me? How does my body feel? What does my body need known? What is my what is the heritage of the past with my family and my own personal trauma that's kind of riding on my back that needs to be looked at and said, yeah, I see that you're there. And then we get to kind of step into this other thing, the affirmations, where we're getting to, as I said before, really claim that essential, central sense of who we are.
Lovely, lovely. Oh, well, my goodness, we're just about out of time. I want to thank everyone for being here. And so, you could probably saw this was live. We're doing another one live at 6 p.m. Pacific time as well. So invite friends and family who would enjoy. You've seen it, you've experienced us here. And since we're doing it live, no two will be the same, right, Sarah?
It's true. We never know what's going to happen when Sharon and I get together.
No, we don't. But I want to thank everyone and encourage everyone to run over to local bookstores, support your local bookstores, get the book from them, or you can order it online. It's available online, and would love to have you. It would make a lovely holiday gift for people. It's just, even if they aren't familiar with Sarah's other 2 books, the Resonant actual work, you don't have to be to really get a lot from this book. You don't have to be as familiar. It's helpful to know the languaging and some of the ideas of unconscious contracts and alarmed aloneness and things like that. But you don't have to. So I'm going to say, give it as a gift. It's awesome.
Thank you, Sharon. And if you do happen to buy on Amazon, if you leave a review, that would be extraordinary. I'd be so grateful. Yeah.
Yes. Isn't it awesome how the algorithms, if we do leave a review, the algorithms will then broadcast it to a larger community. And so we can get the word out to the world about the importance of accompaniment and resonance language. And to me, we have a couple of minutes, and one thing that we talked about in our interview on the Autoimmune Hour is just in our last 2 minutes, can you talk about the difference between accompaniment and advice again? You touched on it a little bit, but sometimes people, in our world, we're expecting accompaniment and someone will surprise us with advice.
Yeah, I just was looking at this in detail and finding some amazing research about the impact of unsolicited advice on nervous systems. And unsolicited advice for nervous systems puts them into fight, flight, alarmed aloneness, and then sometimes into immobilization, instead of, doing what the advice is meant to do, which is meant to support us. And people just want to offer their love and they want our lives to be better. And so they give us advice because they don't know what resonance is and they don't know how powerfully supportive it is. If they knew, and those of us who've been starting to learn are like, okay, little instrumental brain, we're going to move toward resonance. That's the way we can really help. That's the way we can really contribute. It's counterintuitive for you because you don't have the neurons to know that it's actually helpful to do resonance, but we can work with you and calm, be supportive with you. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And just right before we go, I was going to read, I believe the name is pronounced Jaya Raja. I said, if we all order at the same time, it would boost the algorithm even more strongly. So I agree. Let's boost those algorithms up and get Sarah's book a wider broadcast, because I think all of us here on the community today know, Sarah, thank you so much, how much your work has changed my life. And I think in reading some of the chats here, how much it's changed in this community's life too. So thank you so much for giving us this hour, Sarah. And feel free to join us, community, if you want to, at 6 p.m. as well. Like I said, no two are going to be the same.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with me. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Beautiful.
Thank you.